Hey friends, welcome to another episode of the Handyman Success Podcast, where our mission is to teach and inspire through hearing stories from other successful handymen. And today we are joined by Steve and Kellie out in Maui with Dynamic Trade Services. I am one of your co-hosts, Alan Lee, and this is your other co-host, Jason Call. We are excited that you are here and joining with us today. This podcast is all about you guys, all about spreading the knowledge of the handyman industry to help you guys get started or take your business to the next level. So we're going to go ahead and get started interviewing our people today. So Steve and Kellie, you guys want to introduce yourself and let us know kind of how you got started in the handyman industry?
Yeah, Steve and Kellie Salkeld. Our company name is Dynamic Trade Services here in Maui. Aloha to all our friends on the mainland. And so basically how we got started was I've been a fireman for a long time. And in 2007, the economy took a dip and they were laying people off. And Kellie used to do house cleaning. So she said, "Hey, let's do house cleaning, Dad." And I was like, "Honey, I know plumbing and I know firefighting. That's all I know."
They're kind of related, the water.
Yeah. Yeah. So she goes, "No, we could do real well with it." And I was like, "All right." So we tried it and we started doing house cleaning, and we lived in Reno, Nevada. So what we learned was we went by the seasons. So we did house cleaning was our base. And then our customers would ask us, "Hey, can you fix this?" We're like, "Oh yeah." "Can you put in a faucet?" We're like, "Yeah, that's my thing," you know. And it went from there. Kellie's an electrician by trade, so that made it easier. I really don't touch electrical at all, period. I'm afraid of it. She'll go and change the switches, the plugs. Here in Hawaii, the fans are a big job for us, so we get plenty of jobs switching fans out, and Kellie does all that. And so it works out pretty good. Or that's how we started, at least. And then it just grew from there. We got into tough sheds. We got into drywall repair, small plumbing repairs, and just during the winter in Nevada, it froze. So we did pipe thawing, which we used during the winter. So it just grew from there.
Awesome. How'd you guys make your way from Reno to Maui?
Kellie was tired of me leaving all the time in the fire service. She was running, we had a 5-acre ranch, and we had a business. So we had 15 employees at one time. And so
in the handyman business, or?
Well, we did both. We did tough sheds and handyman.
Okay.
And so Kellie ran the whole thing while I was gone. So she said, "Hey, Dad," because "I'm glad that you're doing what you love, but I think, it's time to change and let's do something else." So Kellie's son lived in Maui, and he's an electrician. And so they said, "Hey, you've been doing firefighting for a long time. Why don't you come and spend some time with us?" So that's how we came over here. We visited 20 days a year prior to that. And so we enjoyed it here. Every time we came here, we didn't want to go home. One time I told her, I said, "Hey, sell the business, sell the house. I'm going to stay. I'm going to find a job. I'm going to do something," but I didn't want to go home. So, yeah.
There was actually a point that we would come here, and when we stay at the resorts, you meet people in the hot tub, and people from all over the world come. And we'd met 2 separate condominium managers. And they asked what we did, and we told them, house cleaning, we do electrical, plumbing, yard work, whatever, and they wanted to hire us on the spot. So every time we came here, we were offered, "You can have this whole condominium site and do all the maintenance on it." And we're like, "Okay, we got to go sell 5 horses and shut the door."
Wow.
So we saw we saw
the opportunity
here.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I commend you guys for kind of making that big move. I mean, it's not easy to move, especially, you guys had quite a business going with the tough sheds and all those employees and firefighting, and to kind of, that's a bold, awesome move that people only talk about and dream about, but they never actually execute on. So awesome job to you guys for just like going for it. It's very cool to hear.
Yeah, it was scary. And everybody was telling us, you guys are going to make it. It's too expensive. And we're like, well, we lived through 07 and 08 when the economy was going down. So we lived through that. So we knew we had something that was going to work. And me and my wife, no matter what it was, we always came through it. So we stuck together, put our heads down, and we figured something out. Everybody, no matter what, needs plumbing. You know what I mean? No matter what, they need electrician. Somebody has to change out their switches, they have to. There's just no way around it. And when we came here, it just grew. It was word of mouth. And then when I got a hold of Jason, it was during the beginning of the pandemic. And so for the first couple of months, it was dead. And after that, we have not stopped working in 4 years. It just right now it just started slowing down right now.
That's awesome.
Acting up.
That's I got one question. I think it would be kind of practical for going on right now. So you mentioned that you guys made it through the 07, 08 recession. I think it would be very helpful for our listeners to hear, because there's a lot of talk about this recession that's going on right now, and there's a lot of people kind of freaking out and wondering if the handyman business is the right business to be in during this recession. Like, what will that look like? So maybe you guys could shed a little bit light on, like, how'd you make it through that 07, 08, and what would be your guys' like advice for people that are starting up a business right now, or have a business right now?
Right. Well, first of all, if without God, we couldn't have done it, right? Because trust us, we were scared. We stepped out of the boat into the waves in the ocean. So trust me, we were scared. And we put everything we had into it. So we had nowhere to go but forward. And so we just put our heads together, and whatever it was, we did trash haul off. We did painting patches, or patch painting, and we did just small stuff, plumbing repairs and things like that. We kept on going. For advice, this is it doesn't matter what the economy is. Everybody's going to need the yard work. Everybody's going to need what you have. So we've been really lucky. We've had really good customers, and we haven't had any hassle. So as long as you come in professional and you treat people good, you give them a fair price, and it just works out great for everybody. We've been really blessed. How we've involved in our company and how we've grown here. So this is the thing to do. I try to help people as much as I can to start their own business, to give them that push. If we didn't have that push and we didn't have people supporting us, we couldn't have done it.
I love it. Yeah, there you go, man.
And I personally have to say that through the pandemic, we were blessed, because people still need you when it comes to handyman services. Even during tax season and Christmas, we always get those calls to keep us rolling. Those are our slow times. But they still needed us. We had wore our masks, masked up, and just did the right thing and kept going. In fact, we were renting at the time, and the lady had us remodel her whole house. So for the first 5 months, free to remodel their whole house. So complete blessings. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So would you guys say, like, what's the number one thing you need to focus on, like, going into the recession or through this recession? Like, did you guys have to lower your prices back in 07, 08, or did you start niching out into different items? Like, what was your?
We never lowered the price. We never, whatever it costs us, that's what it costs. There's no change in that hard cost. You have to pay your rent, you have to pay the gas, you have to pay your insurance. We never lowered our price. What we did is we won by volume. So we got more jobs in different areas. So we did house
Okay.
cleaning. Our house cleaning money came in. We did trash removal, clean outs, and then plumbing, right? I still was doing plumbing. So I was gone when we did landscaping. We did whatever people needed. That's what we found out what their need was, and we went after it. And that's what we did. And a lot of it is work out too. So once you get work, it's great.
Yeah, I think one thing that we've learned from all these interviews, if any, like one of the resounding things is that the handyman business and most businesses really, it's people business first. It's just treating people right, maintaining a great professional relationship, and building that trust and confidence with people. Where no matter what your price is, they want your quality and the relationship that comes with the job, and so you're going to get the call every time, and so just really treating people right. But it certainly makes sense. So as things slow down, maybe the demand for plumbing, electrical slightly drop, but people still need trash hauled out and their house cleaned. So kind of just getting creative, in that 07, 08 time. One other thing I'll mention on this topic too, because I get asked this quite a bit as far as, the housing market and the economy and all these things. But when people were moving and buying houses like crazy, before they sold, they had to get work done. After someone bought it, they wanted to get work done or remodels done. And then as housing has slowed down, new home purchases, or with COVID, when people were at their house more, it's like, I'm not buying a house right now with the interest rates and the pricing. Well, what can we do to remodel or improve our current home? So in all these different scenarios, the handyman home improvement trade thrives.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's always stuff to do. There's always stuff to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's certainly my thing that I share with anyone that's just starting out or wanting to. It's like, just go for it, man. And like Steve mentioned, but you got to go for it. You can't just kind of,
You can't. I love what you guys said. Is you went all in.
Yeah.
Because I think if you have that even in the back of your mind, that's like, oh, if this doesn't work, I can go do this, or I have this side gig that I'm not fully, or I have this side job I'm not fully letting go of. When you actually make the decision, and one of my friends says, just send it, just send it, and you have no other alternative. You got to make it work,
Yeah.
So sometimes the best thing you can do is just quit your job and send it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kellie was driving a forklift for $12 an hour, and then she realized that I was making twice what she was making in a week, in a couple of days. She goes, "That's it. I quit, Dad. We're going for this. We're going to take your fire checks and we're just going to go." And I said, "Okay, whatever you want to do, honey, and let's do it." And like I said, in Nevada, we had snow removal saved us during the winter. So we were always busy. We got all the 7-Elevens, all the gas stations. We went to Lake Tahoe. All that covered us and made a lot of money for the summertime and the springtime.
How'd you get that connection with 7-Elevens and the commercial side? Was it just knocking on doors and shaking hands, or if you don't mind kind of explaining that a bit?
And kissing babies.
Kissing.
That's how you do it.
I know Maui Steve is. I won't go further with that comment. I don't want to take it out of context.
Yeah, I used to go in and talk to the managers and stuff, and hey, we never lowered our price. People would say, "Hey, this guy does it for this price." I said, "Great, use him and call me if he doesn't show up or if he can't make it." And
That's
then when
awesome.
he did make it, they would call us an emergency. They loved our service. They loved my wife. That we were a husband and wife team. For one, there's not a lot of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you could actually work with your spouse and live with them 24/7.
Also, as a team, husband and wife team, we get a lot of jobs where there's a single woman, or let's say the mom had to leave her teenager there because she had to work, but can we please go in? And usually that was for plumbing or something. And Steve would call me and say, "You got to go with,"
Yeah.
And so we're always there. And a lot of people really liked that, knowing that I'd be there. And, we'd go in. I made it a point to always go in dressed with our uniform on, clean.
All over.
I'm really about quality control. If we have guys in there, no smoking, no water bottles, leave your cell phones in the car. So I'm a little tough that way because I love my customers and I want them to respect us. So I keep that side of it. He's my sales guy.
That's beautiful. That's
Kellie's
beautiful.
like the superwoman, you know, getting in there and doing all that
Yeah.
electrical, like
I
the
love
true handy woman.
They
I
call
love
me
it.
the work wife.
Yeah, the work life.
So,
That's great.
In the back, we had a 1,000 square foot shop. And so the guys were all in there cleaning up. I don't know what you guys did, but mom's coming. And boy, she is mad. And she called me and said she's bringing donuts and coffee for everybody, right? So you guys better get this place ship shape before she gets here. All of a sudden, man, all the shelves were put back together. They mopped the floor.
I walked in and everybody scattered like, and I'm a really nice person. I'm like thinking to myself, uh-oh, you know, what's going on?
Awesome. That's awesome.
no, you just command your presence and personality. You just command kind of excellence and getting stuff together. It's a unique, honorable trait. So while we're on this topic, guys, husband-wife duo. You know, what advice? Really, just anything thoughts that you guys have for anyone considering going to business with their spouse or people currently working with their spouse. Like, what are some challenges, if you don't mind sharing, or what are some like benefits? Like, if you just don't mind kind of giving an overview of your guys' experience as a husband-wife duo, because yes, like you mentioned, you have to live with each other and go through everything that life, you know, throws at you, and that can seem like overwhelming enough. So anyway, if you guys don't mind sharing a bit.
No, so Kellie's actually the boss. So she's the brains of the operation, and so she does all that. She'll go, Dad, it's time to collect, and then I go collect or whatever, or she goes, hey, we're getting slow, I need you to go find us some more jobs, and then I go out and start finding us jobs or whatever we need. But she does like she said that she does all the fine tuning and making sure everything's working out, and talking to the customers on the phone, and then they meet her in person, and then it's really big when people find out she's an electrician. So they don't really call for me, they call for her. And then she goes, yeah, we got into tile repair, so we could repair tile, right? Oh, a woman could do tile repair? And like, we just want Kellie. So they'll take pictures and watch her, and just unbelief that all the stuff that she does. And painting, she's really good at painting and trim and doing all the finished carpentry stuff and that. And so as a husband and wife, it makes us stronger because we become one. And so whatever I'm weak at, she's strong at. So when you have those days where you don't want to go to work, you get that push, right? She gives me that push. Same with her. Days that she doesn't want to go, we just want to relax. And she goes, no, we got to go to work, Dad. Come on. And we just push each other, and we help each other. And it's always worked out for us from the beginning. And like I said, a lot of people laughed at us until we started getting momentum. Once we started getting momentum, people started looking at us different. And when we went to Home Depot, we started working at Home Depot. They were giving us jobs in Nevada. And so when they would walk in, they'd say, hey, Kellie, how are you? And they would treat us really well when we came in. Every store knew us, knew all of our guys. So all of our guys had to be on their best behavior when they went in there. You know, there was no smoking in our trucks. There was no, like Kellie said, your truck had to be cleaned. And so it was just a different area for us.
So on my perspective of working as a husband and wife, we can't not work together.
Yeah.
The only thing Steve doesn't do with me is the kitchen, right? So in the bathrooms when I'm cleaning. But a lot of people say, how can you work with him? Because you guys know Maui Steve.
Maui Steve?
Yeah. So he's the kind of guy that when I walk in the bank, they look around and they say, where is he? And I said, I left him in the car. But it's about respect, you know, for each other. And we're really lucky. We have like once every 3 months, we hit that off where we get to work and we can see right off the bat, we're running into each other and we're fumbling. And he's like, I'll see you tonight.
Yeah.
You know, and then we go about our thing. But
We just
You
go back.
you can do it as a husband and wife and live together. If you go to work mad at each other, most often it's just going to go away. So it's a good thing, you know.
And it makes it easier because when I do plumbing, she's my labor. She helps me. She gets all my material. She knows what I need. And when she does her electrical stuff, Dad, I need this, I need that, and I go get it for her.
That's
and I
beautiful.
hold it for her, and I do, you know what I mean? So it kind of works out. It's always worked out for us. And then we've always done stuff like that. Painting, she's really good at, and meticulous about that. So guys clean, right? So when we clean our job, we just clean our job, right? Kellie details cleans and taught everybody, you know, run the vacuum, you know, really clean up your mess. So it's better than when we got there.
So we'll be together 20 years this April, and
wow.
And we have a 16-year-old, and we've always kind of worked together, even when he had his drain cleaning service, you know. And when he was in the fire department and leaving all the time, I went and joined and was a volunteer wildland firefighter for 12 years.
Wow, that's awesome.
Just so we could be together. So it's just one of those things. Some people, you know, they can't work together, but I suggest you give it a whirl because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
that's a beautiful example. I mean, to go off topic and not the handyman, you know, business, but like that's a great example of a marriage, you know. I mean, I don't know about our listeners, but marriage can sometimes be hard, you know, and it's just amazing to hear your guys' example, because I think you know, marriage is, you know, not just, you know, the wife giving 50% and the husband giving 50% and then together it's 100%, but it's 100%, 100%. Like, I love how you guys got each other's back. You know, if you know, Kellie, you need something for electrical, Steve's out there getting it, vice versa for plumbing. Like, that's beautiful. And I would encourage the listeners to take that away more than just the handyman business here. We're talking about life, right? Go home, find something that your wife needs and do it, you know? Just do it. Like, that's awesome. I love that example. Thank you guys.
Yeah, you guys just melted my heart, especially. I didn't know, Kellie, that you volunteered. I knew that you were a firefighter with Steve, but I didn't know that you volunteered to be along out there with him. Like, that's amazing. I was a
hose dragger. I did it all.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I even got my hat and first responder and all that. So we've done a lot together in 20 years, man.
They try to put us in different engines, and for some reason we'd be running our hoses together.
That's great. That's great.
You guys are awesome. I would say the takeaway from that is, you know, the solid foundation. Without your foundation built, how are you supposed to go and do the job and take care of clients? So you guys obviously do a great job with your foundation, taking care of one another, so you can go out there and do the business side too. And also, Steve, whenever you started, I got to share this quote. You said, you know, Kellie's the boss, right?
Yeah.
My father-in-law once told me, he said, any man that says that he wears the pants in the household, he lies about other things too.
Oh, that's funny. That's great.
Yeah, they're worked out. Yeah.
Awesome.
She lays my clothes out, so.
You might wear the pants, but she lays them out for you.
Yeah.
She tells you what color you're wearing today.
Yeah. I have to be color coordinated. But, you know, guys, we'll put on mismatched socks, whatever, you know.
Yeah, we're just guys.
Well,
hey, thank you guys for sharing about the more off-topic kind of the husband-wife stuff. It's a really awesome that you guys could share that with us, because I know there's lots of husband-wife duos or people thinking about trying stuff together, so it's good to get that perspective. It's kind of unique and rare for us to be able to have that opportunity, so thank you guys. So if we don't mind jumping back into dynamic trade services, if you don't mind kind of giving us a little lay of the land as far as where you guys are at in the business right now, like people that, you know, subcontractors, people that are working for you. And if you don't mind kind of sharing with our listeners kind of like some revenue numbers, maybe like last year and like what you guys are shooting for this year, if you guys have goals in that department. But overall, just kind of giving us a lay of the land of where you guys' business is at right now.
So when we came over here, we were like at 60,000, not a whole lot, because we were just getting it running, right? And then the year after that, I think we did 120,000. It's
So
just
what
me.
what year was that specifically?
So that was actually
19, right? When we moved here.
we moved here in 19, and so we actually did one of our best years during COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we were the first year of COVID. We did. I think we did like 165,000
Hmm.
the first year, and then the first couple of months, everything was dead, right? So we were like, "What do we do?" So we just kept praying, and it was our church here. We go to one of the biggest churches in the state of Hawaii. I think it's the biggest.
Wow.
But people in the church were asking, "Hey, can you guys come over and do this for us? Can you come over and do that?" And that from that it just kind of grew, and then our website legitimized everything. It made, when somebody looked for our company, they said, "Oh, that's a good company. Hey, you guys got a really good website," and it just grew from there. But anyways, the next year, I think we were at almost. I think we were at like 200,000, if I'm not mistaken, the second year, and right now we're just below 300,000.
Okay.
Like shooting for this year?
Well, I'm shooting for 500,000 is what I'm shooting for this year, but we have some pretty big projects coming up, and so we're looking forward to that. Is what's gonna push us.
Awesome.
Yeah, we got commercial projects now, and so we do a lot of work for Home Depot, Lowe's. We do a lot of commercial work
Like for
now.
their actual stores?
For the actual store.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make that distinction.
Wow. How do you what do you guys do for like Home Depot stores? Like tell us a little
We
about
go in
that.
there, clear the drains. If the toilets are clogged or whatever, we go in there. We do their doors. They had broken wheels on their big gates. We fixed those. What was the other one? What was some of the other stores? The Crocs.
But we
did all the Croc stores, Old Navy. We have 2 malls here. We do both of the malls. When they have plumbing and stuff, they call us.
Wow.
That's a pretty consistent lead source too. Like these commercial, because things that people are in their stores and using their bathrooms and all these different things and sliding the doors and like
clogging them up.
Yeah, it's pretty consistent, like reliable when you have all these relationships.
Yeah, I pulled out crazy things out of Home Depot. I got credit cards. I got
all those handymen.
Yeah.
Well, they're eating tacos for lunch at the taco truck. Man. So, how did you? So you moved there you guys moved there in 2019, right? In Hawaii.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you guys establish all of these accounts like since 2019? Like this is amazing. Like that you're working for Home Depot. How did you go up and ask someone?
No. Do you know what they do is they call us and they say, "Hey, can you guys take on a commercial job?" The first couple times we were like, "What?" And they wanted to wait 30 days to pay us.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Okay, but you guys got to pay us, because we don't want to fly to get our money." And so it actually started working out. So after somebody hears that you guys do a good job, other people call you. We were doing work for the post office here. We were doing work for the dentist, Hawaii Dental. We do a lot of commercial stuff, all the AT&T stores, all the Verizon stores. We do the inspections for them. We got quite a lot of commercial jobs. I would say now it's kind of like 80% commercial, yeah. And then the rest residential.
They had a hurricane threat, and we had 4 stores call us to board up their windows.
Sandbagging.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Did you guys get on YouTube to learn how to do that, or? Seems like a really odd. That's a handyman request right there. Could you board my windows and sandbag this place?
Sure, we can do that. Yeah, we'll be right over there. Yep.
Yeah.
Grab some sand.
Yeah.
I love it.
Just the money first before the hurricane hits.
There you go.
All our 30 nets now, after a year or 2 of doing
or just coming
all these businesses. For Crocs, we were hanging up the big shoe panels on the walls so they can, AT&T now, I got inspections. Steve puts in the floor tiles, the carpet floor tiles when they get stained. Just so many different odds and
touch
ends.
up painting.
So now they're all hitting. He's always said, I just want to sit back and go to the mailbox and get some.
Yep.
And now they're hitting. They're boom, boom, boom. All those 30-aughts have been staggered enough to where it's been worth it.
It comes in almost every day. So I go, I got to go to Kihei. She goes, for what? Never know.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. Every day getting money. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome. So 80% commercial, 20% residential. That's pretty significant. And it's cool because we actually have another interview we're doing with it. He focuses in commercial, and so it's good to like learn about all this stuff from you guys.
Definitely. So is it just you guys, or do you have employees or subcontractors or?
So we kind of have like 1099 guys that they have their own little businesses. So we have a tile guy, and he has his own business, and then we have a guy, he has a boat business on another island. So he goes home on the weekends and he works all week with us. And so he's a finished carpenter, a painter, amazing guy. I taught him how to put in faucets, shower faucets, cartridges, all kinds of stuff. The guy picked up like that. I don't go up to the jobs no more. He just tells me what he needs, and I just go.
Awesome.
Yeah, so him and his son work out really great for us, and so we're in on growing our company. We can actually manage our company. We're not there all the time. We deal with our customers. We introduce them and tell them when they're going to be there, when they're leaving. All the communications through us, and it works out great. We have the best the best subcontractors ever. These guys are just great, and they just move from job to job, and they hustle.
That's great. I got one question about subcontractors, because I know there's a lot of people that are interested in that. If you guys wouldn't mind sharing like the pricing structure for that, like how do you run a subcontractor? Do you give them like a certain percentage of the job, or how does that work?
So when we ran Tough Sheds, we learned right away hourly was not going to work because they were making more than us on that. So I had to do the same thing to them. And we had to break down the job, the material and everything, and said, listen, this is what we need for the company. And we can give you the labor on that. And so that's basically what we do. So they will work harder to get that percentage, and then they're looking for the next job.
Right.
And they just go from job to job, and they want to work harder and faster for you. So you got to keep selling.
Yeah.
What's your percentage that they get?
I usually give them like 25 to 30%. It all depends. There's some jobs like the commercial jobs we're kind of hourly. So I pay them, $100 an hour. It all depends on what they're doing and how long I get. Sometimes I just get, if they only give me like 10 hours, then I give them half or whatever. I try to make it work because it's expensive to live here. So we got to pay them well and take care of them.
And if I recall too, Steve, you do some kind of like mentoring. I know quite a few times, like, you're training younger guys that, from your church or whatever, and kind of taking them around on the job and having them work. And
yeah. So what we're trying to do is get right now, the construction field is dead. It's not the construction field. The younger guys coming into the different trades is hard to find. Everybody wants to stay home and work from home. And so we're having trouble finding those guys. So when we find those guys, we try to help them and start teaching them a trade. And we've actually had a couple guys come here. We trained them and they left and started they went back home and started their own business.
Wow.
And so we enjoy, because you got to bless people. And if you teach them how to fish, they'll fish, they'll fish on their own forever. So that's what we do. And we always send them to your guys' way, hey, this is, there's things that we don't know about. We don't do fencing all the time. We don't do fence repairs all the time, so we send them to Alan's uh, stuff so they could look at it, to watch it, to show the beginnings of the business, and how to start the small projects and do the small projects, and they will win by volume on that. So that's what we try to tell them, that it's okay to be afraid, but once you get out there and start doing it, you're relying on yourself, not anybody else. And so
Awesome.
we try to bring all the younger kids in that and try to help them out to get there.
Yeah.
Love it.
Kind of question on like you guys use subcontractors. Like, what is your guys' goal to kind of like continue to like grow and like add, like whether it's more subcontractor networks or hire staff, or are you guys pretty content with like kind of your involvement with the customers and the day to day? Because I know a lot of folks, like, I mean, there's a ton of like solo owner operators that's the way they want to do it by design. And then there's the others that, are growing companies and adding fleets and all these things. So what are your guys' goals with the business, and what do you enjoy?
At one time, we wanted to franchise. We wanted to grow it and build that business model and grow it in different areas, because like Old Navy and all that, Home Depot, they're everywhere. We could redo those anywhere if we had the right people to run them.
Yeah, it's pretty processable.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that was my main, that I wanted to do that for a long time. I could just never find anybody that would fit to do it, right? Because once you teach them that, they're like, hey, I can do this by myself.
I'll do it myself and make more money.
Hey, thanks for giving me all that information.
Wait, you mean there's expenses to running a business?
Yeah.
I want my job back, Steve.
Yeah. So it works. I mean, we've been trying to do it. That was my dream, is always to have a franchise. And like I said, we want to grow our business. We always we never stop learning, right? We always want those other challenges. And so right now we got 3 good people, and we want to build off their foundation and keep growing. I want to grow to other islands and just keep growing if I can.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, there's certainly an opportunity in the Hawaiian Islands as far as like marketing goes. It's way more grassroots, like just the culture and the way people spread. So there's a lot of opportunity for marketing and just getting a name out there and making those relationships.
Yeah, so that's a good question. I mean, we've already talked a little bit about, acquiring commercial jobs and things like that, but what do you guys do right now as far as marketing, and what would you say has worked the best? I mean, obviously in Hawaii is a little bit different than, say, someone in Wyoming or whatever, but, how do you guys, what do you do for marketing right now?
So we use Jason's website, which is really good. It brings in a lot of people. Most of I would say 75% of our jobs that come in is from our church. To be there's always somebody that needs something. We have a ton of contractors in our church that they ask us to do finish work, install some faucets and stuff like that. And the church we pass work back and forth. Like, we don't do AC, so we have 5 guys at our church that do AC. So we just have, hey, here's a job, who wants it? And then we'll call our customer and say, hey, Chris is going to go over there and do the AC, and here's his company, and we give them the resource, right? Because the more resources you can give to a customer is so much better than that if they have to call from them for themselves. And a lot of people here don't live here, and they'll call us and say, hey, do you know an AC guy? Do you know a plumber? Do you know? And we have all those people at our church. So we like to let other people, and it works out really good for everybody. We got other electricians that if the job is too big for us, we give it to them.
Well, our website is amazing. Jason Call, Handyman Marketing Pros. Yeah.
He does an all right job.
Yeah.
No, definitely number one handyman website, man. This guy. I have a guy that sends me an email every once in a while. He'll call me, and then he'll say, hey, we could get you more views and blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, what would you change on my website to make it better? And then so we'd go through it, and then he really had nothing to change. And I said, well, thanks for calling, but we're good with who we have. Yeah.
Yeah, we tell them to look at our website before they call.
Yeah.
Well, see, and I think that's a good point because unfortunately, marketers, they need to do advertising too. And one of the I mean, I get hundreds of emails every week, saying, "Oh, we found this problem on your website. We can fix it." And I'm sure some of our viewers have gotten the same. And it's like, at the end of the day, like, Jason's created that website specifically for what is needed for a handyman. Like, it's awesome, but that's how like you're gonna get that. And most of the time, those are people just looking for work.
Yeah.
That's what I tell people is like, I get emails and phone calls about websites and ranking and stuff. It's part of being in business is you get the spam, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, we get a lot of that.
That's awesome. So I had one other question as you were talking, Steve. Have you guys ever looked into doing, because we had one other guy from Florida, Brian Davis, and he does a thing called Home Watch, because there's a lot of people in Florida that own homes there but don't live there. And so they basically hire him to watch their home. Do you guys do any of that, or have you ever looked into that?
Yeah, we have quite a few customers like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they call us. They live on the mainland. And said, "Hey, we're renting our condo. Can you go out there and watch it and look at it?" So we'll go in after they rent it, take pictures, send it to them, give them updates and stuff like that. And we'll give them inspections to make sure everything's good, and and we watch out for people.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. So what do you guys do? Can you guys walk us through like what your pricing looks like for your business and how you figured out what you guys charge per hour or how much you desire to make per day? How do you figure all that out?
Well, we followed your book.
Well, thank you.
Right. No, we did, but we had to figure out what we needed to live on, right? All our bills and everything. And that's kind of how we came. We have everything we do is a flat rate. We don't work by the hour. Some lady called Kelly, and we told her that we had to come out there and look at the job to give her a flat rate. And we don't give estimates over the phone. We go out to the jobs. And as Kelly was talking to her, the job got bigger. And she wanted to do it for a certain amount, but all of a sudden she wanted window cleaning and things that we don't do, and you have to go look at them because there's second story, there's third stories, and it's a specialty here to clean windows. It's not, you can't just hire anybody to clean windows. And so there was things there that was going to be more money, and she wanted to pay us by the hour. We don't work by the hour. Everything we do is flat rate.
Yeah, we offer a free estimate, and most often people want a number on the phone.
Yeah.
But I tell them straight up that we need to see the project in order to give you the proper, price and estimate.
Do you guys have like a minimum charge that you would communicate to someone on the phone if they're asking for a price? Like, hey, we have a minimum of this.
Yeah, $150 bucks. And depending on that in the island, that we'll charge to drive out there to give them an estimate, because it's an hour and a half drive.
We do a trip charge.
Yeah, we do a trip charge.
Okay. And I think too, I know it's a pretty commonly talked about thing as far as giving an estimate over the phone, doing an in-person estimate. Do you charge for the in-person estimate? But like a benefit of doing an in-person estimate that you guys just showcased in that example was you get to meet the client and actually show face, build that relationship, and then if they're a great fit, there's likely a lot more work to be had than they originally called you about. So there's a lot of opportunity that that might be foregone, or someone that's sacrificing by just not showing up to do that in-person estimate if that's not their business model. There's pros and cons to each, but I love that example showcases like the real benefit of showing up and meeting the client and creating that relationship.
That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing to do is to show up and see face to face and who they are. And some people might be really nice on the phone, but they're not the right for your company.
Yeah, I agree.
Whoa, hey, thanks for calling. And
we always watch out for those guys that call us up and say, "This is going to be a really easy job for you. I could do it. I just don't have the time."
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And we know.
Flag.
And then we're like, okay.
Yeah, we had one gal call us a while back. She's like, She's like, oh, this is real easy. Like the Boy Scouts could do it, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, maybe you should call the troop down the street. Have them come over.
Yeah. Yeah. That's,
Boy Scout handyman services.
Yeah,
That's an
there you go.
opportunity.
There you go.
we charge more when they start telling us what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
so-
And I'm sure too, like if Kelly shows up on the, to give the estimate, that's probably a pretty, like for a woman, like I know my wife, whenever we've had, I think on one occasion, there's been like a female that's related to like home services. And there's just this, like, she was impressed. There's a bond that was struck up there because it's so rare to have a female in the trades. So anyway, that's probably a solid selling point and relationship building point too. Not only just Kelly, but just the husband-wife. I think that there is a lot of security that someone might find in that. And, we're showing up to do that in-person estimate could bear a lot of fruit in that relationship.
Yeah.
And there's
It
quite a
happens
few.
a lot.
Yeah. And there's quite a few like real estate women here. And so when we both show up, that opens the door, right? Because then I don't have to talk to them direct. Kelly and them can, make a connection and go from there. So it makes it a lot easier on me. I don't have to take the pressure sometimes.
And it speaks to, like for all our listeners, is like you need to look at your pricing and come up with a charge that you can live off and profit on, because people will pay the price that you probably are doubting yourself to charge, because it's more than just the price. Like your ideal clients, they want the relationship, they want that security, they want the quality service. So, it's just an example of like, you don't have to be super concerned and be too fearful about charging a rate that you want to charge, because there's so many more dynamics at play outside of the price.
Yeah. You can't be afraid to ask what you're worth.
I feel like we're in the middle. We're not the the $15 guys that just want to go buy beer that evening, or the real high price guys that promise the world and then don't show up. We just try to stay in the middle. There's a lot of no-shows here, and that's a big sell point for us.
Yeah. That somebody
They're
should.
not used to us being on time and dressed in our uniforms. And
Yeah. If the waves are good, you're going to lose a lot of handymen.
yeah,
And they won't show up. They're surfing.
That's great.
You're like checking like the tide charts like the night before, like, oh, honey, tomorrow's going to be a really busy day. Lots of calls.
That's
Make sure
great.
boat charge.
It's
So-
a true story. True story.
So
Yeah,
maybe you guys could give some scripts to people listening here. But so like, what would you say if someone called you up, like you mentioned that gal who wanted to pay you guys hourly, even though you don't work hourly, or if you gave someone a price, say of $500, and they didn't want to pay that, they felt like the job was $300 or is worth $300. Like, what do you say to those clients?
Well, for an example, yesterday she called me up to do a last minute house cleaning that the floors had already been all professionally done, and all I had to do was the bathrooms and the kitchen and some light dusting. But then she added a couple more things with me on the phone. She wanted me to do some water stains and things like that. She said, I have a gal that said for 200 she'll do it, she'll work all day. And I said, well, I would take her.
Yeah. I like that.
And I said, I just want to be honest with you. I said, that is for me to go in. I can do it in 3 hours, and it's going to be $375. And she said, okay. And then she started talking, and her husband said something to her. She said, okay, can you be here Tuesday? Didn't want that $200 lady in the very beginning. She knew she didn't want her, but she wanted to feel what I was going to say.
Right.
Then
Okay.
what happened after that is she texted me. Then she started texting me, and she says, while you're doing that, I have a 9-foot ceiling and I need 3 chandeliers dusted.
Wow.
And I need you to clean out the refrigerator, clean out the stove, and wash the lanai. And I thought, okay, so she
That's
got
how
my
we got to
price.
500.
Wow.
So I
There you
texted her
go.
back with a higher number. I said, that's like a change order to me. A little more time there, and I'm love to do it. But now you're at 525. And so she canceled. But that's the way it goes.
Right. Right.
You know?
Yeah. I have a saying: you don't negotiate with terrorists, because at the end of the day, you still get blown up.
So
Just
that's
how it
how we
happens.
We just try to give them the right price.
Yeah, for the right job. You give them a fair price for the right job. And
everything's different here on the island. We work with a lot of single walls. Steve runs into some crazy stuff.
Oh man, I've never seen plumbing and stuff like this. I was like, whew, bro.
They just run it right up.
My uncle did it. I said, man,
My uncle did.
Yeah, right after he was surfing and drinking some beers.
yeah, don't call him back. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, we got, I think, another like 5 or 10 minutes here. There's a few other things that we got for you guys. One is if you could share some of like your biggest like personal and business like wins. And then conversely, like what are some of the biggest challenges that you guys have faced since starting your handyman business there in Maui?
Shoot. Our biggest win was moving here. And just be, because we're in paradise. It's beautiful. Most of the people are very nice to you. You know what I mean? We get the aloha spirit a lot here. We just love it here. I think we're planning on retiring and being here forever. We're
The aloha spirit does exist, and there is a lot of good people here that's our win.
I think our challenges are our challenges are the gas prices going up, right? So now we're charging a TOE, a truck operation expense, per invoice. And
what is that? Is that based on miles, and how much per mile would you?
We kind of just give what it costs us a month to run our truck.
Okay.
So we just divide it right what we're spending and pushing it on to the customer.
Okay.
So it's more like a flat rate kind of thing per job, the TOE. I love the truck operating expense rather than like fuel surcharge or what the truck operating expense. I think that's
because we do a mileage charge, but this is a little different because it's like kind of flat rate. So that's cool.
Yeah, and like I said, and then we do if it depending on what part of the island it's at, then we charge to show up. But other than that, we haven't had any really bad customers here. Everybody's pretty much paid us. I think waiting for our 30 days, to get paid, that was kind of a challenge for a while. And then once it started coming in, like Kelly says, we got to check every other day now, or every day we got checks rolling in, and that was a challenge to get it going. Once we got it going, now it's just wham bam. It's great. And we just we like it. It just the prices going up kind of hurts everybody, right? So if we get the prices to come back down a little bit, it will just help out the small business, because that's I think most of the economy is small businesses, right? It's guys like you and me, and that kind of carry a lot of the load of the country.
Yeah, and so I think too, having the commercial focus, there's a lot less price sensitivity there as compared to like maybe a residential. People are fluctuating with the economy and there's fear and things. Whereas like the commercial, there's no fear and fluctuation. It's a budget line item, and the dang door doesn't shut, and customers need to use it, or the toilets
it needs
got
to work.
issues. So it's a lot more stable. And so my question is, so you're currently 80% commercial, 20% residential. If you had to be 100% in commercial or residential, would you do 100% commercial or 100% residential?
For me, I would go commercial, but there's so many people that need us residential. You know what I mean? That there's a lot of good companies here. You know what I mean? But we enjoy helping people. We enjoy the face-to-face contact. And we've been to places where I remember one of our customers, she gave us a job and she wasn't feeling good, and we got to pray for her. So we enjoy that. I still have that firefighter in me that we love helping people, and sometimes we bless people. There's jobs that we've done for free just to help people out. Sometimes it's not always about the money. It's about our community and helping out our community.
Yeah. That's awesome, guys. It reminds me of, I'm not sure if Pete Slacum with Fix It Pete, he's in Louisville, Kentucky, I believe. But anyway, I talked to him a few months ago, and he mentioned, one of the joys that he has is residential side and showing up. He works with a lot of retirement communities, and so there's people that are widowed, that are lonely, and he gets to, part of his job, he feels, is just being with those people and spending time with them and helping them, and it's just a huge joy, that him and they're actually a husband-wife duo that they get to do in their business. So anyway, it reminded me of him, so shout out to Pete if he listens to the podcast.
Pete. Yep. That's awesome. So what kind of, as we wrap up here, what kind of parting advice would you have for both, maybe some advice for the new guy that's looking to get started in this business, and then some advice for someone who's currently in it and maybe looking to kind of grow a little bit?
Don't be afraid. Get out there and do it, because it's better to make money for yourself than it is to keep making money for somebody else, right? Because we bought our time back. We own our time, and that's the big thing. I don't have to be somewhere at 8 or 7 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? And if I don't,
got to be on our podcast at 6 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah. So we own our time. We own, we get to do what we want. We set the schedule for what we want to do. We're not under somebody else telling us, hey, we got to get this done. We got to do this, so starting your own business is the way to go. And I'm glad that we're really blessed that we were able to do this. And we had the support from our family, my cousins. All my cousins on one side are business owners. So we've had people that helped us get going. And you got anything?
That was don't be afraid, right?
Yeah, don't be afraid.
I just think that like Steve said, owning your own business, it's amazing. It gives you your time. You meet the most amazing people, and you can learn something new every day. There's no doubt about that. Kudos to the husbands and wives out there that are working together. It's a good family business.
What about departing? What do you
departing? Just hang in there. Go for it, like Steve said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
Awesome.
Give it
Don't be afraid to fail. You know what? A lot of people are afraid to fail. We failed in our plumbing business the first time. We failed in our drain business. We never gave up.
Yeah.
We kept on trying. We failed hundreds of times, but we never gave up. We always kept on going. We never stopped. We just pushed through. Mm-hmm. And we never gave up, and we never gave up hope.
And thank you guys. You're an inspiration to us.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, what's that, Steve?
I said, let us know when you guys are ready to come visit.
Yeah. Well, you guys, it's certainly a tempting offer there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, Steve and Kelly. And just to clarify, too, this is the man, the legend, Maui Steve. You've probably seen his comments on YouTube and Facebook. He is near and dear to our hearts.
Legend.
So thank you guys for coming on and sharing your story, especially the uniqueness of the husband-wife duo. Anything else, Alan?
No. Take us home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, again, I'm Jason Call, owner of Handyman Marketing Pros. I'm with Alan Lee, co-host of the Handyman Success Podcast, and honestly, Handyman and the Handyman Journey. The list is long for that man. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Have a great one, guys.
Aloha.
Aloha.